All right, welcome back to the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. Mike Catalana, I'm Jenna Cottrell. Dan Fate's still at home hanging out with the new baby Ryan Page. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy our content. All right, Bills camp on Monday. So yesterday on Sunday, it feels like the Bills defense kind of won that day. Today, the Bills offense and the pass catchers showed up.
Oh, catch the ball, and they were doing it today, and I loved it. I loved the energy we saw. I want to start with Sherfield.
Yeah.
I mean, he made a great grab, falling back. Everybody cheered. The team got up, kicked the ball through the end zone. Josh Allen came over, high five, and big moment for the offense for a guy who has looked really good, I think, in this training camp.
Yeah, I feel like I had him written down before we saw that catch because I feel like he's had like a quietly great camp. He had some nice catches. He had that catch you talked about today. And I just feel that rapport already between him and Allen. Allen running up to him after. And I think maybe it's a kind of a testament more to the off-season work that they had, the mini camps, all that stuff. And maybe Trent Sherfield, because Diggs wasn't there, got a little of that extra time. And I don't know if it's that, but I feel like there's definitely a connection there. And I think he can really be something in this Bills offense more than I was ever expecting.
This is a tough game. It's a tough game to play.
It is,
And there's a few wide receivers who can just step in and become that guy. But not every guy is that guy right away. And I'm not saying Trent Sherfield is going to become a number one guy.
No.
I'm saying is the guy has proven he can play in the NFL. He's played behind two really good guys in Miami last year, in Hill and Waddle, and now he's got a chance to play behind two really good guys here, certainly in Diggs and Davis. But you made a good point. I think in that offseason, he developed at least enough confidence with Josh Allen that got him going. So he stepped into camp ready to go. And honestly, I think he's looked really good.
I completely agree. I feel like that's someone that I was like, oh, we'll see what happens. But he is someone that to me has shined, and I feel like he's made some really nice catches. Another guy that made a nice catch today, Keyshawn Johnson, came down with another great catch, a guy we have not talked about at all, but he had really great hands, able to bring the ball in. It was impressive.
Yeah, it is. And look, you got to flash if you're those kind of guys, right?
Have to.
You got to show that when the ball comes your way, and they're not going to get the amount of targets, even in practice, that the main guys get. So when it comes your way, in an 11-on-11, he went up and got it. But the guy who made two of those plays today is a guy we've been talking about nonstop. And I said day one,
I know.
I didn't want to hear it because he's a rookie, but Jenna, he made two of them today.
Dalton Kincaid has looked smooth since the start of camp.
Yeah.
Today, he had a one-handed grab. He was able to bring the ball in. Another great catch. He's someone who I think Josh looks to often.
Yeah.
He's a guy that's really caught everything essentially we've seen. I've talked about the catch radius before. Like, Josh is able to put the ball in a spot where the defense can't get to it, and Kincaid is right there. Great hands. I mean, I feel like we have to like tamp down expectations because he is a rookie, and I'm what will that translate to in terms of an NFL game? But in camp, when you see him work out there, you notice him.
Yeah, I mean, he's earned what he's gotten in camp.
Yeah.
Now, Saturday's first preseason game, he'll get snaps. Let's see how he does.
Yeah.
He's not played in an NFL game, so it's hard to project what a guy can do.
Yeah.
But I watch him, you watch him, we watch him all the time in camp. He's out there all the time.
All the time.
I mean, he is, I'm going to say he's a starter on this team. Again, sometimes starter depends on what formation you put out there on the first snap.
1.5%, all that stuff.
Right, when they're doing that, whether he's what position he is, whether it's Khalil Shakir that's out there at times. But I'm telling you, he's going to get, at least it appears that this coaching staff believes he can do it. So otherwise, he'd get looks, but he wouldn't be out there as much. There's just no way. And so far to this point, he's shown all the things he wants, what they want him to show as a pass catcher and a route runner.
Correct. And he's a rookie who they've put in front of the media. I think they're trying to get him to kind of have some more exposure, get used to that, have a feel with that. But he has capitalized on his opportunities here. And I think we all are talking about him way more than I think we all were expecting.
And you have to be ready. Like when it comes time to the real game, they're playing the Jets in that first game. A lot of people's anticipation is going to probably be higher than what it ends up being.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that he's not going to have limited snaps. They're doing something here at Fisher's. Poor Jenna.
I hate loud noises. I do.
Isn't that from Anchorman? He yells loud noises.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Loud noises. I love Lamp.
But I think it's rare when you see that. I mean, this is not, 5th pick in the draft wide receiver when the Bills had Sammy Watkins in that spot that you just assume. They're kind of changing the offense a little bit. But boy, if you didn't know any better, you walked out here, you'd say, oh, in his 3rd year, this Kincaid's doing really well, because that's kind of what he looks like.
Smooth.
He is.
Smooth.
He really is.
Love it. All right, another guy.
Well, I wanted to go off of Kincaid.
Oh.
Was there another receiver we were going to talk about? No.
Keyshawn Johnson.
You
but we
said
did.
Keyshawn. Yes.
Yeah.
I wanted to go back to Kincaid because Kincaid made a catch.
Hold this. Keep talking.
Kincaid made a catch, and Josh Allen talked a little smack at the Bills' apparent starting linebacker, Tyrell Dodson, I think in part because what had happened on the play before.
So there was
The word is skirmish.
Skirmish.
It's the time you can
Kerfuffle.
use the word skirmish. It was, and you can usually use a brief skirmish. It just, those words go well together.
I feel like skirmish implies that it's brief, no?
I think you're right.
Right? Look at me.
I do. I think
Look
you're
at
right.
me.
But skirmish, it felt like a skirmish. It wasn't a fight.
It wasn't a fight,
First
but it
of
was
all,
the first skirmish
Let me
of
tell you
Bills
something.
camp.
When Spencer Brown's involved, the giant that he is, and they were going at it, grabbing the helmet. Did he pull his helmet off, or
It looked like he
had his own helmet? I couldn't really tell. And all of a sudden,
maybe
the
a
helmet is
helmet
off.
is coming in,
Yeah.
but didn't make it.
Fortunately, it's nonsense a lot of times
Yeah.
at camp, but sometimes guys get hurt in that nonsense. Somebody steps
Yeah.
on their foot, they hit their finger on a helmet, like any
Yeah.
dumb thing. It was brief, but on the very next play, Allen to Kincaid,
Yes.
and then Josh to his linebacker.
Yeah, he was doing a little smackaroony. It looked
Speaking
like.
of which, Josh left the field briefly
I
today.
gotta make this go down. Okay, hold on. Go ahead. Keep going.
Josh left the field briefly today, and anytime Josh runs off the field,
Yes.
it was like, I don't know, 10 minutes, 15
I believe
minutes?
they clocked it at 18 minutes.
Oh, I didn't know we had the official clock on it.
Yes.
18 minutes.
Stopwatch.
He ran, and it's a distance to go back
It
to when they were
is,
in the locker room.
yeah.
I don't know if they had to check something had happened. Maybe it was his elbow. It didn't seem to be a big deal. He came out and he practiced.
He came back out. He threw his normal routes.
He
that
threw
we,
well, too.
He did.
And
he
the guys
did.
caught everything.
Yeah. Also that.
Yeah.
The first skirmish of Bills camp, though.
Yeah.
In the final week.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting. I had written down Christian Benford.
Oh, yeah.
He plays. He stands out. So the Bills were doing their one-on-one work, and I can't remember who his receiver was, but it was one of the top guys. And Benford was just all over him, able to make sure that, it was a great ball that was thrown by Allen, but Benford was great and even better in coverage. Wasn't a touchdown, all that stuff. So that was something that I took notice of. He's had a couple interceptions throughout camp.
Here's what the thing is. I don't think he's the athlete of Kaiir Elam,
Correct.
but I think his technique is better.
I think I've said this before. It's like Kaiir is the athlete trying to play corner, and Benford is a corner. He might not be as athletic, but he has those instincts, and I just think he's right there every step of the way. I don't know what that will mean, but
He had
my
another
one
pick, right? He's had 3 in the last 2 days, and we're not stat people from camp because
Yeah.
sometimes it happens.
that was
Sometimes
my earlier hot take. Yeah.
It was. It's true because sometimes people are like,
Yeah.
"Oh, he caught 8 passes." Yes, sometimes some of
It's
that is
misleading.
true. It can be very misleading.
Yeah.
So, but in this case, he's around the ball. Taron Johnson we talked to,
Yeah.
and he was like, "The guy is a ball hawk. He's always around the ball."
Yeah.
Some guys have an instinct for that. Benford has that instinct.
My one thing with Kaiir too is he is so physical. You get worried about the hands and what that will be, how many flags that will be, what that could cost, or can he get that under control? Because there's a fine line between being a very physical and also, being too physical.
You can be known for that.
Yeah.
You better believe when the Jets are on the field, Salah's out there saying to the back judge, 24 gets handsy.
Yeah.
Watch for him. I mean, this happens. They watch tape. They see it.
yeah.
He is a physical player, but when you're young like that, you don't get away with that stuff.
Yes.
They call it. We see it out here at practice. Again, I think it's technique because he's got all the ability to do it. And I think maybe that will come you feel like I don't want to get beat.
Yeah.
But giving up those penalties, I think, is punitive to a defense.
Yeah.
Everybody does their job, and you get
Definitely.
called for holding or you get called for illegal contact, and it gives a team a first down. So I think that's a concern for the defense. Kyer Elam can play,
Correct.
but he needs to avoid some of that stuff and still be a physical player.
Exactly. There's, again, that fine line. He's
Yep.
got to fine-tune that, and that will come, I'm sure, in his second season, or the Bills hope that will come. But
Yeah.
Christian Benford is just the guy that I feel like is out there making plays. You just see him, his confidence. I feel like it's a very quiet confidence as well. But we talk about guys that you notice, and Christian Benford is a guy out there that you do notice. So that's something that... But Dane Jackson also has been a reliable guy for Buffalo. Sean McDermott, I feel like, has a ton of trust in him. He's gotten a lot of snaps, especially with Trey White not out there last season because of the injury coming in later. So that is still a battle that's going to be fascinating to watch.
No doubt. And then another guy, you mentioned Sean McDermott with trust, kind of took me a little bit by surprise today when we talked to Sean, is he was asked about A.J. Epinesa, and he was all in on A.J.
I believe he said he's dialed in.
Dialed in, and he also said he's, a paraphrase, an important part of what we're trying to do on the defense. Like, again, we're looking for certain things as a guy who was picked in the second round, but I think the Bills also see him as a guy that can move in and out on the D-line, and they see more in him. I would say this, I want to see it on the field. We've seen flashes because his teammates certainly speak highly of him.
Yeah.
Sean McDermott, I'll put it to you this way. I'll be blunt in saying this. Sean McDermott talked about him like a guy who's going to be on the roster.
Correct.
And I don't think it's always a guarantee with all the D linemen that they have that it's a guaranteed spot for, well, not for anybody. There's certain guys that are guaranteed spots. But, you know, that second tier, those rotation guys, you know, you got Jordan Phillips back. You've got Boogie. You know, you brought in Floyd, when Vaughn comes back. Like, there's only so many snaps out there. But I was a little bit surprised he said that. But it's encouraging for Epinesa.
Yeah, and we saw Epinesa today working with Daquan Jones, like them talking, Daquan Jones kind of showing him some stuff like, oh, you know, do this, do that. And, you know, Epinesa was locked in on what he was saying. So, and for Sean McDermott to compliment and say a player specifically is pretty unique because we've...
I wrote it down. He's a pivotal piece to what we're doing. Sean doesn't just throw flowers out there.
No.
I was impressed. I mean, I was like, I wrote it down. And then I remembered to look at it.
Which you take terrible notes.
You're so bad.
First day of camp, we're going to write down everything everyone says.
I did it for like a day and a half, and it's just all up here.
Yes. As you asked Leonard Floyd about.
I know. I asked him about talking to Dodson.
And I wrote down in the notes, Daquan Jones talking to A.J. Epinesa. You mixed up every piece of that.
Really? But I give Leonard credit. He just went right on with his answer, like I didn't say something stupid.
And you called him Malcolm before.
No, I didn't call him Malcolm. Let's be honest here. Let's be truthful. I told Von Miller it was Malcolm Floyd, and it's Leonard. And he looked at me like, so. And then Von, I'm going to fine Von for this. Because I asked him about Malcolm Floyd, who he played against when he was with the Chargers, because Von's been around forever.
Yeah.
He didn't know the name. I'm like, how do you not know Malcolm
That's
Floyd?
Well, because he wasn't thinking of somebody on his team.
He wasn't.
You're starting to act like me.
I know. But anyhow, I've had a few of those moments. It's been a couple weeks.
Something to note about Vaughn. Obviously, he's still working out on the side, but he had his two sons out here. We got to see Von Miller, the dad. Very cute. Very, very cute. It was really cool to see. I posted the video on my Twitter, but that is one thing that I love about camp is you get to see these guys not just be the football player, but be the person they are around their family too, which is really cool to see.
His little one, I'm going to say 2.5 maybe?
I would...
2. I'd say 2.
Yeah,
I'm looking at the way.
That feels right.
Absolutely has a burst, could get around the edge. That kid can
size.
Move. Yeah.
He actually was pretty fast.
Tremendous hair.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I see the burst already. Von's going to have him ready to go. Got his
I believe he said he wants his son, if he were to be in the NFL, be a quarterback.
Yeah, well, and general manager Von Miller will be
drafting that quarterback. That actually is funny. And then another note from practice. Jim Boeheim.
Yeah.
Here with his wife Julie, his son Jimmy. I guess they met Josh Allen before in the past, but Jim Boeheim was incredibly likable to us media folk.
Yeah, well, he did start out. I said, what do you think when you come to camp? He's like, well, I'm surprised I'm talking to you guys. I figured I was finished with that. It would not be a day without Jim being snarky about reporters. But he actually said it in a lighthearted way.
Funny.
And he said,
I laughed.
He's like, what am I going to do with my time? I go fishing. I can't catch fish. I play golf. I can't hit the golf ball. By the way, he's a good golfer, and he's probably good at fishing too. But whatever. But he was out here enjoying himself. Loved seeing Josh. Bunch of players came up to him.
Yeah.
You know, these guys that get older, they got to retire someplace. They put us out to pasture.
No comment.
Yeah.
No, that was cool to see. And yeah, I mean, he's obviously Central New York royalty.
Yeah, and I guess Jimmy is going to go play in Germany, is what I heard.
Yes, that is what we have heard. So he stopped by. He is a big Bills fan.
Yeah, and Buddy is playing for the Pistons.
Yeah.
Or at least in their system. So whether he's on the NBA roster or not. So good for the Boeheims. They seem to be doing well.
Yeah, so Jim Boeheim, a confirmed Bills fan.
I know, right?
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought he liked anything?
All right, any other notes from practice?
No, I don't think so. They're off tomorrow, being
Yes.
Tuesday. They're back here Wednesday and Thursday, off Friday, game on Saturday. I'm not normally this way, but I'm really looking forward to the preseason game.
Really?
For certain guys. I want to see certain guys. I want to see what they do at linebacker.
Yes.
I want to see if Kincaid gets how many snaps he's getting out there.
And corner.
And corner. And I want to see how,
And quarterback.
yeah, Kyle Allen looks at quarterback.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's a lot of things for Saturday.
What time's that game at?
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. We'll be there.
We'll be there.
All right. For Mike and Dan, who's at home, I'm Jenna. Please be sure to like, comment in any questions that you have, subscribe. We always appreciate it. If you enjoy our content, we have been pumping it out. We've been trying. So if you appreciate that,
Yep.
we appreciate you.
And some people have been very sweet,
So nice.
asking for pictures. You do it. Love it. When you do it, tweet it out. Let people know about
Oh,
Buffalo
wow.
Plus,
Oh,
right?
okay. Yeah.
Right? I mean,
yeah.
tag us on that, and we love it. So
We do.
It's been really good.
It's really cool to see, honestly, and everyone's been very kind, so we always appreciate that. And visit the BuffaloPlusStore.com for all your Buffalo Plus
Wear
merch.
your merch. Bring it to practice. Come on.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got a couple in there.
I know. Well, I made a
Today was
couple
not a
mistakes.
good showing for you in other ways. All right, for Mike, I'm Jenna. Thanks for watching Buffalo Plus.